Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Eric with the American Business Systems, and I'm looking forward to getting started with you this afternoon with Patrick Phillips and me. We will be talking why our medical billing business opportunity is superior in every way. Patrick Phillips, he's the founder and the CEO of American Business Systems. He has written several books. One of the books that we're going to be talking about today is The New Thriving Medical Practice, and we're going to be sharing with you how you actually utilize that in your marketing campaign. And then he is not only a writer, but he is a contributing editor, author to a very large billing and coding magazine called BC Advantage. So Patrick, without any further ado, let's bring you on, because I know we want to get right into here, and I'm going to ask you the question. So Mr. Phillips, why is ABS superior in every way?
Well, because I own the company.
Oh, well, there you go. That was the webinar today. Everybody sign up right now. Just go to the end and we'll sign you up today.
and you work for me, so that makes it even better.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Patrick.
Hey, let me give a little overview if I can here, Eric, just for a second there. So here's what I wanted to say, folks, to you before we actually get started. And that is that if you're looking to start a business of your own, doing billing for doctors is a great business. I happen to know that because my wife started doing it back in the early 90s. And of course, we've had, I don't know how many people have gone through our training, Eric, but we got a lot of people out there that I've interviewed that have been very successful in building their business. One guy that just went through training in July already has 2 clients. So it's still a very viable business. It's what I call a real business. You know, some businesses are real fly-by-night, quick, get-rich-quick type things. This one, doing billing for doctors, is very solid. Once you get a client, you can make it $25,000 to $35,000 per doctor that you're doing the billing for. So it's very profitable. The return on investment is really quick because our investment is very low. It's $27,000. That's our franchise fee. I guess you'd kind of think of it as a franchise fee. That includes our training, our support, and all kinds of stuff. So folks, there are differences though between companies like ours who have a cloud-based, a true cloud-based billing system, and those who don't. So that's what we're going to go through today, and that's what we're trying to point out to you. If you're looking at other companies that might be doing something similar to what we're doing, we're just letting you know that we've got some advantages that you'll find as you go through the webinar today.
Yeah, you bet. And we look at this, and that we're going to go through again these 5 different areas. And Patrick just mentioned about the cloud, and obviously we kind of know about the cloud of just being the internet, folks. I mean, that's all we're talking about here. And it's amazing, Patrick, how often we do business on the internet now, whether it's through a bank or just about anything. I mean, even software, a lot of the software that is, whether it's building webinars or doing webinars or I think all of my videos and my personal photos are somewhere in the cloud up there. I don't even have them on my phone anymore.
And the cloud itself is kind of a mystery to a lot of people. So we're going to try to clarify that today, what the cloud is and why the cloud is the reason why we're so successful as a company. There's software out there nowadays, folks, that of course comes on not on a CD, but it's called software as a service, meaning it's served across the internet. And these are just some examples of it. If you're using Microsoft Office 365 or Google Docs or Salesforce or Dropbox, any of these, you're using the cloud. And what your experience with these clouds may or may not be, of course, depends on them, but they're pretty solid nowadays. That's why Google, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, they're all cloud-based. And so ours is a true, now when I use that term, I'm trying to distinguish between people who say that they have a cloud-based system and those who don't. So that's part of what we'll point out today if you're looking at other software that's out there.
Yeah, because if a lot of people say that they're in the cloud, but what they're doing is using the internet through what's called the VPN. They think that that's part of the cloud. And what Patrick is saying about true cloud, obviously, it's in line with what we're talking about and what you're seeing right here on the screen.
Yeah, so here's some other software as a service. You may or may not have heard of some of these, but folks, this is so solid nowadays that nobody doubts that this is the future. Now, we saw it as the future, Eric, what, 10 years ago, at least, because we knew that by moving to software as a service, you didn't have to worry about loading something on your hard drive. Now, there's lots of disadvantages to that we're going to point out today, because imagine, well, the simple thing you should think of is all that patient data on my computer. That's not a good thing, right? Because if it's on a laptop, for example, and you lose the laptop or it's stolen, all that patient data now is in the hands of whoever stole your computer. That's why doctors, even nowadays, should not have software on their computer in their office, because the same thing can happen there. What if it gets stolen? What if a fire burns the building down and they haven't backed it up? Lots of disadvantages to that. And one of the main companies out there, that's one of our competitors, has software that they don't say it anywhere on their website now, Eric. It's very hidden, but it comes on, yes, a CD that you install in that little drawer that comes out that I used to think was a coffee cup holder. And you put that in and install that software on the hard drive, the physical drive in your computer. That's a very dangerous thing to do. Plus, you've got to keep it updated, and you have to download patches and updates and all kinds of stuff. Now, here's a company out there. You can go to zoho.com. I think it's .com. And you'll find that they have over 50 apps that are all cloud-based. So there's nothing that you can do on your computer with a software that installs from a disk that you can't do in the cloud now. That is the future. It's just that some companies developed that software themselves 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and they don't want to spend the time and the money to revamp the whole thing for the cloud. That's just a very expensive thing, and they've got it out there and installed on hundreds of computers coast to coast. Doctors and their licensees, so they just don't want to spend the money to update it. So they've done some things pretty sneaky to make you think that you can set up your own cloud. So I'll talk more about that as we get into it.
Yeah, because Patrick, you mentioned about putting a CD or a DVD with software. Most computers don't even have that anymore, because everything is and has gone to the cloud. Whether it's your apps or your software, anything that we pretty much now is driven by that. So, since we've talked about that, now let's start talking about our software and what we have. And it truly is a software as a service. So again, let's talk about that. Before we do that, you wanted to go over this quote right here.
Oh yeah, sure. This quote, for example, folks, points out that 87% of all physicians state that their preference is for a single source vendor for all their revenue cycle management software. That's the billing software, RCM, and the EHR. That's the electronic health record software. So doctors have two kinds of software. One does the billing and keeps track of the appointments and so forth. It runs the practice basically. And the EHR is the electronic health records that the government has required them to have. Now, our system, as you'll see, has all of these built in. We're a single source. That is, we've developed it ourselves. The same developers that developed the billing software developed the electronic health records. That's not true with other companies that are out there. What they'll do is they'll sell you their software, their billing software that they developed, and then they will hook you up with an electronic health record software that now you have to figure out how to patch the two together, or maybe they've done that for you, but it's kind of like in Texas, we say it's done with baling wire and bubble gum.
Right.
And it's a very negative thing. So be sure and ask specifically who developed your EHR software. Did you develop it in-house, or did you have other company that you just kind of plug it into?
All right. So Patrick, let's talk about what is our cloud system and what does it consist of?
Yeah, so here's the four components that basically you'll be working with if you get involved in our business, folks. The practice management system, or the revenue cycle management software that you see in the upper left-hand corner. We call it iClaim. That's our name for it. And then on the right-hand side, the electronic medical records, EMRX we call it. Isn't that clever? Get it, RX. Electronic medical record system. That's an interchangeable term with electronic health records, by the way. And then the clearinghouse, very important function of software that is not built into, well, I don't know of anybody else who has that, Eric, that has the clearinghouse built in like we do. It was developed basically inside of our software so that you don't have to go outside to have a clearinghouse. That's a third-party company that basically you have to hook up with to get the software and the claims submitted. They scrub the claims, they submit the claims to the insurance companies and so forth. Then one last feature that's like the latest thing out there, Eric, isn't it? Patient portal. This is the big thing. Patient medical records, folks. This is your own portal, and you may have one now with your own doctor. So you know what we're talking about. You have a login and a password, and it gets you into all of your system. Now, that's usually a third-party software. Even if you ask your own doctor who developed your software, the patient portal, it's a third-party company. Not with us. With ABS, folks, we have technologically put all of this together ourselves, and that means that you're not going to have somebody blaming somebody else. Like you've probably, if you have Microsoft Word, for example, on your computer, you might complain to Microsoft about something and they'll say, oh, that has something to do with your hardware, so contact your computer company. With us, the buck stops here. If something's wrong, we fix it because we are the ones that developed it. Now, it's been out there, like I said, for over 10 years. We've been signing up doctors with it and have had no problems whatsoever. But that might be some of the things that you want to ask in the question box. So don't forget that question box. We're monitoring that live. I see a couple of notes here about Eric's transmission, and now it's much better, some guy said. So Alex, thanks for that feedback. But anyway, put the questions in there about this as we go along, because we don't think of everything.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk about the clearinghouse. And again, we would love the feedback if hopefully my voice is coming much better, but turned off that back noise back behind there. So we're going to talk about the clearinghouse. And again, this might be your first introduction to a clearinghouse and how this actually is so vital in when you're doing the medical billing. So let's just kind of dive in here. But before we do that, Patrick, you actually wanted to read this quote here about clearinghouses.
Yeah, now here's how important it is that you realize that even an organization that's a third party that just says, clearinghouses.org, if you go to their site, you'll read this quote. Listen to this. Clearinghouse hell is when you call your clearinghouse about a claim error and they tell you that absolutely have a billing software problem. See, they're blaming it on somebody else, because they're a third party company. Then you call your claim software provider and they assure you that the problem lies with the clearinghouse. This circle of stupidity can go on for days and weeks and can make you insane when all you want is for the claim to go through. But no one will take responsibility to get to the bottom of it. Avoid clearinghouse hell when at all possible. Now, how can you do that, Eric, if you don't have a clearinghouse that's owned by, developed by, monitored by the same people who developed your billing software? That's us, ABS.
That's correct. So let's talk about most companies and what most companies are. So again, you have software that's on your computer that you've probably installed with some type of CD or something else. And then you got to get patches just like any other types of software. And then you have to maintain that. So just think of that process right there. Then when you do create a claim.
You might be paused, Eric.
Okay, let's see if did that come through?
Yes.
Good, thank you. And then once you've submitted a claim, then it goes to this third-party clearinghouse. So you can see it's outside of the software already. Then when that claim gets to the clearinghouse, that claim is either going to be sent back to that software because of some errors, which could be 3 or 4 days up to a week. Then if it is clear, then it will go out to the insurance companies. But you can see that clearinghouse stands in the middle between you as the software processing claims and then the insurance company. So you've got this thing here in the middle called clearinghouse. You need it, but it just so happens it would be so much nicer if that clearinghouse was inside of your software.
Yeah, so to prove this to yourself, go Google medical billing clearinghouse. And you'll see that there's Eric? I had a list at some point, maybe 2 dozen different clearinghouses that are out there. It's up to you with other companies when they just sell you the billing software and say, now go set up with any clearinghouse you want to. They make that sound like a good thing. It's not, as you just saw the quote there from the clearinghouse org itself.
Right.
That is, they're going to tell you to go hook up. Well, how do you know which software clearinghouse is the best? How do you know which gives the best service, which has the best pricing, et cetera? How do you negotiate all that and work out that paperwork and then make sure that your claims can actually be accepted by that clearinghouse? It could take you literally weeks to figure all that out. Not with us. Once you join us and sign up a doctor, when you start submitting claims, they go right through our clearinghouse automatically, because our clearinghouse, as Eric is illustrating there in that scene, is built into the software. So if that's confusing to you, just think of it this way. Clearinghouses used to be very important, and they still are with people who don't have it built in, but they're third-party companies who just set up and said, hey, we can make money off of charging people maybe 50 cents a claim or $1 a claim to process these, scrub them clean, make sure that there's no errors, and then send them on to the medical insurance companies. We have all that built in, and you don't have to do a thing. It just happens behind the scenes.
You bet. And you can see this is just, it's so much simpler because now you're processing claims inside your software. It's going through the clearinghouse at the same time. And then the only place it can go is to the insurance company. So now think of it, you're directly communicating directly with each of the health insurance companies out there. And you talk about really reducing the amount of claims that could get rejected. Nevin actually even says that. Sounds like you get less rejected claims. And that's exactly what we're saying. That's exactly what we're saying today.
Yeah, because what happens is, since you're depending on that third-party clearinghouse, it's up to them as to whether or not they get that claim submitted to the insurance company. Most people don't realize this, but folks, we have this in some other webinars, but just take this down. Most clearinghouses will with software that's not connected, they will have sometimes up to a 20 to 30% rejection rate. Yeah, that's money lost for the doctor and for you. With ours, Eric, what is ours nationwide?
Less than 2%.
That's right. And folks, you'll hear me interview licensees who've gone through our training and have clients and they're submitting. And every time I ask that question, Eric, one guy said mine's less than a 1% rejection rate. So that means more money in your pocket, more money in the doctor's pocket, and everybody's happy.
Yep. Now, again, folks, if you've got any questions, put those in the question box as we kind of go through this. Now, we're going to talk about support. And again, we're talking about why our medical billing business opportunity is superior than others. So we've already talked about three main areas. The cloud, we're in the cloud, so there's no software that you have to load on your computer. Secondly, that software is in the cloud, and that software already has its built-in clearinghouse. So those are three main areas. Now, we're moving towards you, because now you need the support. So we're going to talk about the support that you get here from AB Systems. So that's what we're going to first of all talk about. Patrick, we've got several support mechanisms, and this is just one of them right here.
Yeah, this one just happens to be located in California. We also have one for another one of our services in Florida. They're all over the United States, because everything you're doing is over the internet. It's virtual. You can work from anywhere as long as you have an internet connection. You could literally be on the beach in Hawaii running this business. And we've had licensees tell us they've gone over there for a week and they just ran their business right there. As long as you have an internet connection, you can connect with our billing software and the clearinghouse. Now, one of the things we didn't touch on, though, was support and how important that is. And folks, we have what's called lifetime support. Now, another cost that you could have with other companies who give you 1 or 2 or 3 years, depending on how much money you spend with them. Ours, for that one-time licensing fee I mentioned earlier, you get lifetime support. Now, what does that mean? It means as long as you're doing business through our software, you're going to get support from us. There are no extra charges, and some of those companies, Eric, charge up to $1,300 a year for support after the first year or so. So it's important that you know we have over 100 people nationwide that can support you. Some of those include some of our licensees, by the way, that are willing to help licensees for a fee. We pay them to do some coaching for them. I mean, folks, our support is so inclusive that it gives you lifetime access to a website that's designed just for our licensees that have all sorts of resources and training videos and other things on it. So you have lifetime access to that as well.
Well, Patrick, before we get off this, I think it's important because I think maybe our competitor would want to say that this is a bad thing with ABS, and that would be that we actually make a little money on the back end. This is why we're able to give lifetime support, and we never have to get that money from you as our business opportunity partner. You want to go into that real quickly, and that I think that's so important before we leave this section right here.
Yeah, folks, I just don't believe as a company owner, I do business with people the way I would want them to do business with me. And I can tell you that there's nothing that really gets my rankles up more than somebody charging a nickel and diming you after the sale. We
Right.
don't want that. And so we decided that with the lifetime support we charge, which may sound like a lot of money to you, $27,000, but some of our competitors charge $45,000. And there's other software that's even more expensive than that if you got it on your own. But the point is, folks, that I wanted to include in that fee a one-time lifetime fee so you don't have to worry about paying for support. Now, the way we do that is we have some what we call multiple revenue generators. These are other services that we've developed that you can offer to your doctors, and it generates income for you and for ABS. Now, I'll be honest with you, we don't make but pennies on some of these services, and you won't make a lot of money on some of them, but they sure do help you get in the door, don't they, Eric?
Yes, they do. You bet. You bet they do.
And since we make money on these services, of course we want to give you support. Why would we used to give like a 1 year support, and then when I said, folks, here at my office, I said, why would we want to stop giving people support if they continue to bring clients to the table and we're making money on all those clients? So
right.
You can find out more about these services, by the way, in what's called the Medical Revenue Management Research Guide.
We're going to keep going on, and then, but one of the other support mechanisms that you're getting here is the fact of us doing the live demonstrations of the software, the cloud-based software, directly to your doctor for you, again, at no additional fee. Patrick, you want to talk a little bit more about how important these live demonstrations are?
Yes. Here's how important they are, folks. We do this for our licensees. Let's say you have a doctor that you've interested. We'll show you how to get in the door, how to get a practice analysis on that practice. And at some point, you tell them, I can show you, I can have my people show you an actual live demonstration of the cloud-based software. Now, could we put something on a CD and hand it out or send it out? Yes. But folks, that is so old technology, doctors would probably laugh at you. We want to prove to them that we have a true cloud-based system. So our support people, you see the guy up in the top there, he's one of our people who's given a demonstration of the cloud-based software to your doctor. And you can be there in the office with the doctor, or you could be at your home watching this and listening to it as well. But we give the demonstration live over the internet using the cloud so the doctor can see that it really is truly cloud-based. Folks, here's how cloud-based ours is. You don't have anything on your computer. You literally, Eric, could go to a store today, buy a laptop, go to McDonald's, hook up to their internet, set up your computer, get logged into our system, and do the billing on that laptop without downloading one piece of software to that laptop. That is true cloud-based system, folks. And Eric's showing you there, as you can see, we're actually giving the demonstration, answering all the doctor's questions. You get to hear everything, of course, and watch it yourself. We record it so you can go back and watch it again. And eventually you'll be able to do these yourself. But we'll do as many of these as you want to. And Eric, so far, I think our closing rate's still around 50% of the demos that we give, isn't it?
That's correct. And right in line with this, right, Chrisita, sorry, is asking about the doctor's internet and the high-speed internet that they might need to have. Maybe saying that apparently not all doctors have internet access in their office. You know, Chrisita, I do a lot of, I'm engaged with a lot of doctors, and I haven't come across a doctor that at this point doesn't have internet service, because every doctor is communicating via emails. Their websites are up. So someone's got to maintain their websites. I mean, they're getting emails from potential patients. There are a lot of doctors that have their own type of systems where patient can actually schedule an appointment. So I would find it very rare a doctor not have an internet service in their practice at this time of history.
Well, I can't imagine that either, Eric. Even out in rural areas, I mean, people have internet connection. And folks, it doesn't have to be necessarily the highest speed internet connection in the world. In fact, people ask me, Eric, well, what if your internet connection goes down? How do you run your business? Well, nowadays it's pretty simple. You basically could hook up your hotspot on your phone. Most phones have a hotspot, they call it, which means you can connect your computer, your laptop or desktop, through your phone to connect to the internet. Now, it doesn't have to be that high a speed. It may be a little slower until you can get your internet running there at your house. But folks, how often does that happen? It just doesn't. It's not a problem. We haven't had a problem in over 10 years with our licensees saying that they've had any kind of problem connecting. You could also go to McDonald's. There's probably a better place to go to McDonald's, but anywhere that has an internet connection, and take your laptop and run your business there until your internet's back up. What is it usually? In my area, Eric, I don't think it's been down for over 2 years, but when it did go down now and then, it was like maybe a couple of hours when they would finally get it all back up and running again. So I don't think that's a problem. In fact, the same thing would be true with any competitor who says, well, we have what we call a cloud-based system, and you'd still have the same problem.
You bet.
Hooking up. Yep.
Yep. Let's keep going on. And Patrick, while I'm doing this, if you want to glance over to any of the questions there that we need to get to, but I'm going to get to, because of time situations, I'm going to go ahead and keep going on over here. We're going to talk about training support. We've got different types of support. Obviously, you need to get the doctor. So the marketing support that we're doing out there on the front end is obviously there to help you get your doctor. And then once you've got a doctor and you need some more additional training, especially as you become a brand new licensee, the training, the online training that we now have is around your schedule instead of around our schedule. Patrick, you want to talk about that? And then maybe we can get through some more of these questions here as we kind of get through this section on support.
Yeah, so here's how this works, folks. Let's say you decided tomorrow that you're ready to invest in ABS, you want to get started. How quickly could you get started? We literally could have you on your first training session, probably, I'm guessing Monday, because we say 48 to 72 hours. Let's say it's Monday. Then, depending on your schedule, we can get you trained through all of the modules of the training, which is about 10 to 15 hours of training, basically, just that portion at least, that portion of the training. There's other training, but that can be done within 2 to 3 weeks, because we do give you homework assignments at the end of each training module. Now, these are not recorded. They're not in a group with other people. These are done one-on-one, just like you see me and Eric right now, live here. We're using a technology that allows us to hook up with you on your computer. You see on this picture here, for example, it's a picture of our licensee support site, by the way. And then the instructor is on video up in the upper right-hand corner. So you can either use video or not, that's up to you. But if you have a webcam, you can turn it on, and you and the instructor literally are face-to-face, and you have him or her at your beck and call, basically during that entire hour to an hour and a half while you're on that particular session, asking all the questions you want with that person. And every module that you go through will be with that same instructor. We don't switch around instructors for you. So anyway, that's the way that works.
And then at the end of that training, once you've completed that training, and as you'll see here in just a moment of the guarantee support, that once you're satisfied with everything, then you're awarded a certificate of training as a certified medical revenue manager. Patrick, you want to share any more about that as we go on through this?
Yeah. Now, folks, there's an organization called MERMA. It stands for Medical Revenue Management Association of America. That organization is the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies. They're the ones that certify you as a CMRM. You see that there in the certificate, Certified Medical Revenue Manager. You can put those initials after your name on all your literature and your business cards and so forth, and your website, because this organization has certified you that you've gone through that training, and that certificate is issued to you at the end. By the way, just a little aside here, Eric. I don't think we've said this before on a webinar, but it just dawned on me that some people have a partner or a spouse that wants to go through the training as well. As long as they're on there with you during your session, you could have 2 or 3 people if you wanted to. They could all be certified if they'd gone through all of the modules.
There you go. You bet.
And there's no extra cost for that, of course.
Now, again, talking about the continued support. Now, this is where I think it's very important for people to listen in, because obviously, whenever you get through with the training, you've got to go out there and actually start doing your business networking and your business development and everything that you've just gone through, because just when you get through training doesn't mean automatically you've got a doctor banging on your door saying, hey, I just learned that you just got through with this training course and you got this certification. Hey, can you come do my billing? What about going out there and actually doing your marketing? And so what we have here, folks, is a monthly webinar that every month we're giving those that have gone through that training and that are received the certification as a CMRM. They're attending these webinars and discussing with us, and sometimes with a full panel of people, a round table of discussions of what they're doing right, what they could be doing differently, and what it's going to take to actually get a client. So Patrick, let's talk about these webinars that have been going on for several years now.
Yeah, now we say monthly, but folks, we usually have more than one a month. They're closer to every other week. And the reason we do these is because there's always something new to learn, or we revise older webinars that need to be updated with the latest information. So we keep you educated throughout your entire time as an ABS licensee. And that is included in your lifetime support. There is no cost for you to attend those webinars. By the way, those are held on Fridays. These, for people who are prospective licensees, are on Wednesdays, but those are on Fridays. Now, I know these are hard to see. You can't even tell what the titles of some of these are probably that we're going through on the screen here, but we're just showing you a selection of some of them that are hosted there for our licensees to go through and learn new stuff all the time. It's a continual learning process. And one of the slides, I think we'll get that here in just a second, is one that shows how long we've been doing this. There it is right there. Look, you can't read that probably, but it says for five years old, right, Eric, underneath that slide that it's pointing to?
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So in 2014, we started these training webinars that we started organizing. You've just seen a small section of them. We didn't show you all of them. I just wanted you to get a feel for the different topics and so forth that we cover. But folks, this is invaluable information. These are about an hour long, each one of them. And so you have a whole library that's already been recorded and is available to you. And then you can attend the live webinars, just like you're attending this one, from now on, as long as you're an ABS licensee.
You bet.
Yeah.
Continue on with one
is.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I'm thinking you're about to show that. One of them is the panel that Eric talked about earlier. There we go.
That's right. Let's talk about this one here, because we're actually doing another one of these this Friday.
Yeah. These panels basically are they're involved with all the people that are not only our support people, and there, as you see, me and Eric are on these as well sometimes, but we have licensees. The guy in the top middle there is a licensee that I mentioned earlier that just got his first 2 clients after going through our training in July. So he's sharing how he got those doctors, how he found them, what types of doctors they are, what kind of volume they have. He gives you an approximation as to what he's charging. Those are the kinds of things that as a network, you're able to be a part of. And then there's Dr. Vicki Ragnar that you see up there in the upper left-hand corner. Now, she's the one who's actually written a book we're going to show you here in just a second that is basically co-authored with me, that is a marketing tool for you. And she is an expert, having retired from a general surgeon many years ago. She now helps our licensees to connect with medical doctors. She also has clients all over the United States and speaks at conventions for doctors. So you've got a doctor on your team. I skip over that. I feel like I've already skipped over that, Eric, because it's so important that people realize that they've got a doctor. Right. But here's the book. You can see there at the bottom that it says the forward by, and then your name, comma, CMRM. There's your certification. See, it's right there on the cover of a book. We put your name on the front inside title page, and then that page you see on the right is the last page of the forward. Now, you don't have to be a writer. You don't even have to write the forward. We've got one that's very generic, very standard, that you can just put your name on, because all we're trying to do is tie you in with this doctor. Now, Eric, I don't know if people realize how valuable it is to be on the cover of a book with a doctor.
Right.
And then there's your contact information you see on the right there. You can put your name, your company name, your phone number, your web address, your email, whatever you want there at the end of the forward. So this is a great, I call it, it's an expensive business card, but man, it's the thing you would leave behind if you wanted a doctor to really do business with you. And it works, Eric. As you know, we've had licensees give these away, and then the next week a doctor will call them up and say, hey, I looked at your book. I think I have some of the problems mentioned. Come out and do that practice analysis that you talked about.
Yeah, you bet. And folks, that is just one of, like Patrick's going to share here, one of over 2,000 marketing pieces that you're going to have here with us here at ABS.
Yeah, you get an initial supply of over 2,000 pieces of marketing material. They include the flyers you see there on the right. Those are 8.5 by 11 full color flyers. They're personalized, by the way, with your name, company name, and contact information. We print those with your name on them. That's a part of the license fee. Yes, there's no extra charge for those unless you reorder them, of course. And then there are the books. I just showed you one, the new Thriving Medical Practice that I wrote with Dr. Vicki Ragnar. There's 3 more that you see on the screen there that we're also publishing, that you'll be able to put your name on those as well. So they're great marketing. I said they were expensive, Eric. Let me clarify that. On Amazon, you'll find the new Thriving Medical Practice, if you go look, for $24.95. Now that's because we put a value on there, because doctors are used to paying, well, you'll see any doctor's books are usually more than they ought to be, but $24.95. However, we print your name on that cover, and you get an initial supply of 25 of that book with your name on it. And if you want to reorder them, they're only $4 a piece. Now imagine having a paperback book that's about 200 pages printed with your name on the inside and the outside for $4.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a great deal. And then there's some presentation folders you see on the bottom left there. They're very generic, and you can put your proposals and literature in those to leave behind for doctors as well.
Patrick, let's talk about ways to drip market to the doctors too, because a lot of people have sort of gotten away with what we call the standard mailers that are out there, but these are a little bit different than just a regular type of a mailer.
Yes, folks, these are full color postcards and greeting cards. You can't tell from this picture, but some of them are greeting cards. You can open them up and actually read the text that's on the inside. On the back side, of course, they have a place for you to address them. If it's a greeting card, of course, it goes in an envelope. Now, the great thing about this is, folks, that this is an automated online cloud-based system. You don't ever touch a card. It's all done online, and you can even put your signature inside the card and your own picture if you want to. It's just a wonderful way to get a follow-up system going when you do contact a doctor, because some of them may not be ready to sign with you today. That doesn't mean they won't be interested later. So you just drip market, we call it, one of these a month to the doctor. They only cost you a couple of bucks a piece to send out to them. Very economical way to keep your name in front of that doctor. And it's all done online with technology. Now, the great thing is that we have, as you can see there, there's 7 that are designed to go out over a 7-month period. And you can set it up on what's called a campaign. So it's automated. Once you put the doctor's name in there, they're going to get that first card. And then 30 days later, they get the second card. And 30 days later, they get the third card, and so forth. And you can just forget about it. It's just done automatically. It's the greatest system that I have ever run into for marketing in my entire life, Eric. And again, that's included in your license fee. You have access to that.
Another thing included with your licensing fee is a website. And again, this is part of all the marketing support that you're getting. And these websites are professionally, as you can see here, designed that you can take and put your graphics on there, all of your content information. There's obviously things in there for your forms that will go directly to you, and obviously not to ABS. We just have ABS up there as a placeholder for a lot of this, but you're going to see this is what you're getting as part of your investment here in yourself. And again, folks, you got to understand that you're not just investing in AB systems, but you're investing in yourself, your education. Just think of the money and the time it would take for you to develop everything that we've shown you so far, and including having lifetime support with the live demos that we have, our the cloud-based system that we have, and get you in front of those doctors. And again, I'm excited for Friday's webinar that we're doing our licensees, because I think we're going to see more and more licensees get in front of doctors than ever before.
Yeah, we continually develop out in the field, folks, things that really do work. If they work, then we put them to work for you and introduce them to you as a licensee. Again, there's no charge for this. New ideas and new marketing tools that we come up with are just made available to you. Now, if it's a book, if it's a new book, of course, and you want your name printed on it, then you have to order some copies of that yourself. But I think you can order as little as 25 copies of any of those books. So it's a very economical way for you to get going with any new tool that we have. We also spent thousands of dollars developing those websites. By the way, you could spend $5,000 for one of our websites if you had it developed on your own. Here's another tool that, well, you can see Eric is standing there with one of our licensees who's in our support team at this point, Tim Warren, and they're out at a medical convention. Now, we're going to show you how to do trade shows, we call them. It's conventions where doctors get together and they all walk around. You've seen something like that at a garden show probably, and they stop at your booth and talk to you. And it's just a wonderful way to make connections, isn't it, Eric?
You bet. And again, this is where sometimes we go out and beyond what's really for support. I was asked to support Tim in a trade show, and I went out there, actually rolled up my sleeves and put the whole presentation together there that you see there for him, and walked with him and talked with him about getting doctors. And after that, Patrick, Tim's business just literally took off from there at that point.
Yeah, he also helped another licensee, by the way, who went out and signed up a doctor that it was like 6 podiatrists in one group.
Yeah.
And they're doing about $250,000 a month in billing. So it's very lucrative, folks. If you're charging 5 or 6%, you can do the math yourself. Now, those booths, again, cost us about $4,000 to develop. They have lights on the top and so forth. We can ship those to you, and you can set them up within 30 minutes and have your booth there. And there's no cost for those. You just pay for the shipping.
Yep.
Eric, I stuck these testimonials in here. They're in that booklet that I told people they could download there. They'll read some of these. I'm not going to read them out loud, but folks, this is just a sample of the licensee testimonials that we have from people who've gone through our training and they built their business and they're just, booming. Each one of these has their own story, and some of them you can even talk to. We've got licensees who will agree to take some phone calls.
You bet. And then lastly, part of support we call the guarantee. Now, Patrick, this is where I think we kind of separate ourselves from everybody else, specifically on the support. So let's talk about the guarantee and actually how it's changed even over the last 2 to 3 months.
Yes. At one point, of course, we didn't have a guarantee. I mean, you can imagine, folks, that if we allowed people to go through our training and then get a refund, why, they would have all of our proprietary information. But at one point, I said, Eric, if we really have what we know we have, and we saw the success of our licensees, I said, why wouldn't we just offer a money-back guarantee? I mean, literally 100% of their money back if for any reason they don't think this business is right for them. Now, we want you to go through the training, of course, so that you can see what all is there, but why would you, purchase if you didn't? So, folks, I don't know of any company that does this out there. I just have not heard of any business opportunity / franchise company that will give you your money back. Once you've sent your money to most companies, folks, it's just gone. There's nothing you can do about it, no matter what. So be very careful about doing business with people over the internet. We'll let you check us out with the Better Business Bureau. You can come visit us in our office. There's all kinds of ways you can do your due diligence on us. We're not afraid to hide anything. But once you have sent your money and we know that you're, serious, we'll let you go through the training. We'll give you all the materials that you'd get normally. And then for any reason you don't think this is right for you, why would we want to keep your money? There's no reason for us to do that, because we'll never make any money from you because you won't do anything with the business. So anyway, I don't know if anybody does that, Eric. People think I'm crazy for offering that, but as you know, we've only had a handful of people even think about getting their money back over the past 25 years. So.
Well, and again, there are a lot of people who would say, well, why don't you give a guarantee after you go through that until someone actually gets a client? Patrick, you want to address that before we move on from here?
Well, I've had people say, well, why don't you just let me go through your training, and if I like it, then I'll send you the money. Well, we don't know that you really have the money. The only way we can know that you really have got, your money set aside to invest in a business is to let you pay us first. That money comes into a trust that my attorney holds on to the money. We don't even get it until 30 days later. So that's the reason we do it that way. And like I said, we have given some people their money back, Eric, over the years. And
Sure.
That's usually for a very special situation in their life that they just, it just didn't work out. Or, one guy invested and his wife didn't know it. And so when she found out, something was on his desk one day and she found it. She said, you better get that money back, or,
Don't
you're
come
not
home
staying here. Yeah.
Right. All right, well, let's wrap this up. We've got about 8 more minutes left here. We want to talk about the team, and that's the last part that we want to talk about. So folks, you can kind of see, we've kind of just taken you through this little path, talked about the cloud, the software, the clearinghouse, all the support, including the money back guarantee. Now let's kind of talk about the team and maybe some of your next steps here. One of those steps is you could just come by and visit with us. Patrick, you want to share about some of our new office buildings that we have?
Yes, we just moved here recently. We were over in what's called the Keller area of Fort Worth. Now that we're in the South Lake area, it's midway between Dallas and Fort Worth, probably close to the DFW airport. So if you want to come visit us, just let us know. We'll come pick you up if you want us to, bring you to the office, meet with you there. You can meet some of our team and get to know us better if that's what you feel good doing. Some people have done that, Eric. Very few compared to the ones that go through our training. But if you want to do that, just let us know ahead of time. We'll make sure that we've got some time set aside for you there. This is a picture, by the way, taken in our previous location, one of our previous buildings that we were in. But it just gives you a feel that we're just a family business. That's my wife and I sitting there in the front. And some of these people are not with us now. Some of them are. You can go to our current website and look under Contact Us and About the Team to find out more about some of the people that are on our team. And that booklet that you can download right now will tell you a little bit about more of our team. Okay, yeah. So here's the people that you can talk to. Some of these people, we call them our business development coaches. These 3 gentlemen are one of the 3 people that sent you the email to this webinar. If you're not sure, you can call that phone number right there and just ask which one of these people is my business development rep. Jason Pettit, Adam Phillips, and Dirk Davis. There's their phone numbers. That's their actual cell numbers, by the way. That's how we do business nowadays, is directly through cell, text, and phone calls. And of course, their email are on the screen there as well. Now, if you download the slides that are over there in the handout section, you'll also have that you can refer to or just take a snapshot of it right now while it's on the screen.
You bet. And then here are the next steps. So we can just make it as simple as possible. There's 5 steps for you to kind of just work through your due diligence. Obviously, the research guide that is over there in the handouts area. Patrick has mentioned about our YouTube channel. You can go to youtube.com/YABS and just go over there. Those are all of the webinars. Basically, Patrick, you and I have done, gosh, since 7 or 8 years ago, and we do this every week.
So there's literally hundreds of them out there. Yeah. And by the way, a lot of those testimonials, the interviews that I've done with successful licensees are out there. Be sure and search for those as well.
You bet. And then he mentioned earlier about ABS licensee references. So talk with some of the licensees that are out there. They're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, even the struggles that they've had on getting their first client. So, don't be afraid of talking with those people and asking them their questions. Some of them got clients way before anybody else could even imagine. But you want to check that out. If you haven't seen a live demo of the iClaim/EMRX platform, folks, you're selling your own self short. So you need to get with your business development coach there. Ask them to see a live demo. Just get with them. If they get busy, I'm sure that we can arrange that. I'll do one for you. We'd be more than happy to show that demo for you. And then lastly, download the purchase agreement, review it with your business coach, and it has all of your funding instructions right there. So those are your 5 steps to success right there, right off the bat.